Yeah. Welcome back. The India Today-Cicero poll, the battle for Bihar. We are building up to the big numbers. Who's winning the battle for Bihar? Remember, a day after the poll bugle was sounded yesterday. Let's now raise this question, which has now become a central theme of any discussion. Narendra Modi versus Nitish Kumar. And we pose that to the voters of Bihar in this poll. Who is more arrogant? Because both have been accused of being authoritarian. 30% said Modi is more arrogant. 36% said Nitish Kumar. Who is more reliable? 42% said Mr. Modi is more reliable. 34% said Nitish Kumar is more reliable. Whose development model is better? 45% said Narendra Modi's developmental model is better. 30% said Nitish Kumar's developmental model is better. So clearly on that question of development, Modi is scoring over Nitish. Opinion on Mr. Modi's rule at the center? Better than expected, 20%. As per expectations, 42. Add the two, it comes to a healthy 62. Less than expectations is 25%. Can't say was 13%. Opinion on Nitish Kumar government's performance? Better than expected was just 14%. As per expectations, 44%. Less than expected was 29%. So clearly at the moment in the developmental stakes, Modi seems to be edging Nitish at the moment. Surjit Bhalla, you've been a great supporter of the Modi model of development versus the Nitish model. Do you believe that there are two different models that they are catering to? Nitish much more trying to sort of create an inclusive model, if I may say so. Mr. Modi focusing on growth relentlessly.
Well, one, just for correction, I'm a great supporter of the growth model and inclusive growth model, whoever brings it. As long as they do it democratically, that's the best government to have.
Yes.
But looking at these numbers, you know, actually it is a lot more uneven than strikes the eye. For example, more than expectation for Nitish Kumar is 14, less than expectations is 29. That amongst economists, etc., you look at that difference, that's minus 15. Yeah. In the case of Modi, it's only minus 5. So apart from looking at how many people feel good or whatever, you want to look at the difference between those who feel very good and those who feel very bad. This would be, in my opinion, very bad news for Nitish. Okay, that is to say, his unpopularity is magnified or appears to be magnified because of this difference.
Sambit Patra, I didn't allow you to speak before the break, and I remember that I promised that I would let you respond. These numbers are, of course, numbers that should bring some kind of a smile on your face, but you wanted to respond to something that Mr. Pawan Verma was saying about the manner in which Narendra Modi, he believes, was almost imposed on allies like Nitish Kumar at the time, and Mr. Modi represents a brand of socially divisive politics. So there is development which people seem to be attracted by, but there is also social divisiveness which seems to turn the backs of people like Nitish.
But three quick points on this Modi versus Nitish poll that you had. Yes. First and foremost, I would like to say that this Modi versus Nitish debate is already over way back in 2014 and the loser in fact had to resign. You remember Mr. Nitish Kumar, as stated by Pawan, had to resign because he had to accept the defeat. So that question is over. Secondly, as far as the development mode is concerned, well, yes, Mr. Modi is far ahead than Nitish. But remember, whatever 58% of achievement that Mr. Nitish Kumar's JDU has is during the tenure when BJP was along with JDU, because the previous question that you had put has to be extrapolated and merged with the present question. So the performance, I have the data along with me, you would see the GDP of Bihar was 12 to 15% during 2012-2013, which dipped to 8.5% in 2015, which shows that the development that the people are talking about, 44% and 12%, is during the reign when there was a coalition. And thirdly, remember that Mr. Nitish Kumar has been ranting about DNA, DNA and DNA, means development nahi aaya. DNA means development nahi aaya, because
That's
had
not-
he brought in development
No,
on
let's
his
be
own,
clear.
then he would have been talking about development.
No,
He
no,
would
that's-
have been showcasing his model. He would have been talking about bridges, about roads, about how he brought the electricity. That he is not showcasing any of these in most of his rallies only shows that development nahi aaya, that is DNA.
This is a new definition of DNA, certainly not what Mr. Narendra Modi spoke of the other day, and that seemed to actually backfire a bit on the BJP. It angered the likes of Shatrughan Sinha, who were questioning why the Prime Minister should mention the DNA of Bihar. But Sanjay Jha, I haven't come to you for a while because the Congress is irrelevant, many would say, to this debate. You know, the Congress seems to have decided that my enemy's enemy is my friend at the moment. So essentially you've tied up with Nitish particularly, and possibly to some extent Lalu. After going on your own in 2010 and facing a humiliating defeat, this time you've latched on to Nitish and Lalu and latched on to their coattails. Would that be the best way to describe the Congress? Not even as a B team anymore in Bihar, but a C team. A team Nitish, B team Lalu, C team Sanjay Jha and the Congress.
You know, Rajdeep, what I love most about the Indian media in particular is this presumptuousness and your own little world of hubris that you all live in. The truth is that in politics, and you should know that better because I have a lot of respect for you actually because of the fact that you have some very, very solid political experience. In politics, turnarounds happen rather remarkably, and you'll wait and see that happen. I want to make two quick points because you never allowed me to come in earlier.
Yes.
Number one, please note one significant development because you asked me this question and I didn't get a chance to answer. Post the time that the BJP broke with Nitish Kumar, there have been 675 low-intensity communal disturbances unleashed by the people from the Sangh Parivar, the BJP, etc., in very sensitive strongholds that the BJP believes is a vote bank. These things do affect your growth and your economic development. Why is the BJP doing that? That Mr. Patra can answer that. The second critical question, I'm going to tell you this. The BJP will lose in Bihar. Because Bihar, with due respect to Mr. Bhalla, even the country, even India has failed on Mr. Modi's exclusive growth model. This country needs welfare, this country will need subsidy, this country will need policies and programs.
Is this election about the Modi development model or the Nitish development model?
Will not, yes.
Is it about the Modi development model or the Nitish development model?
Well, the Modi model has been proven to be a disaster for India already. The truth is, look at Gujarat. Look at what is happening in, you have the Patels talking about reservations and coming into an OBC category. That tells you how the Gujarat model was a massive subterfuge that worked once, but once bitten, twice shy, India will reject it. I'm from Bihar, I can tell you, I come from the district of Darbhanga. I can tell you, Bihar today has a long way to go and Modi's model is not going to work.
I just want to get this. Is this election, Manisha Priyam, about the Modi model or the Nitish model? Let's be clear. In a state election, is this about Narendra Modi going to Bihar and saying, you know, the DNA, questioning the DNA of Bihar and saying, look, I am the Vikas Purush, I will bring the real development model? Or is it about Nitish Kumar saying, look, I am your local, I am someone who knows the dharti of Bihar. Mr. Modi at the end of the day is is someone who lives in Delhi. And therefore his development model cannot be brought to a state of Bihar. What is the real issue there? What is at stake?
See, the real issue is that if you look at the Mahagathbandhan rally that happened in Gandhi Maidan, Nitish Kumar is still talking of governance, development. He spoke about the fact, one thing that is not being spoken about, lots of power sector reforms in the last
particularly in the last 18 months.
Yes, exactly. Now, Nitish Kumar
we should tell our viewers, rural electrification is becoming now his new calling card.
Yeah, but what happens that he's making that speech, but then comes Mr. Lalu Yadav and Mr. Prabhunath Singh, and they have the badla rhetoric. They say tak dina din ek ki chhati pe teen teen. So they are looking at physical skirmishes. So two types of dialogue. And the second point is the dialogue of Vikas and development that Nitish is making on that platform. Mr. Modi takes it from there, and thereafter when the rallies happen in Simanchal and in Bhagalpur, he's bettered the Nitish card.
Can I for a moment stop you? You know, I just want to bring in Dipankar on this point. You know, this is a Bimaru state, or was traditionally seen. Nitish doesn't like the definition anymore of Bihar being seen as a Bimaru state. But when Narendra Modi, who was a chief minister of a state which was a high growth state, comes to a Bimaru state, can he sell the idea to a Bihar that look, I will bring faster growth to you. What he did in UP in a sense in the Lok Sabha election and possibly to Bihar also in the Lok Sabha election of 2014, along with the Hindutva agenda. We have accusation that communal riots, mini communal riots have taken place, more than 600. Can that combination of development plus sharp Hindutva work on the ground?
You know, I'm not very certain about sharp Hindutva working anywhere. But I do believe...
Or having worked anyway.
Or the other idea of bringing a Gujarat model to a Bimaru state.
You see, the point is this, that I think the point was made earlier, that Nitish is not playing his best card, which is making roads, making Bihar safer, and gradually bringing in development bit by bit. It's a long process. As you rightly said, Gujarat was already ready-made package with a nice yellow ribbon around it. But that's not the case in Bihar. And unfortunately, by tying up with the types he has, Nitish, he has lost the game, because if you look at your own figures, you'll find that one of the issue that worries most Bihari voters is corruption. And who is corruption? In the minds of everybody is Lalu. So when you think of the ordinary Bihari voter saying that my biggest problem is corruption, and at that point you have Nitish, aligning with a person who's popularly cast as a corrupt person, then it doesn't
But
work.
did he have an option? On the other hand, if he didn't tie up with Lalu Prasad, the vote would get divided.
No. He did have an option. He made a mistake of believing that the caste politics of 1990s still works.
Yeah.
India has moved a long way since those times.
No, just a minute. Javed, did Nitish need Lalu? Let's look at Lalu. We haven't even discussed Lalu as yet. The fact is, Lalu Prasad has been the mass leader. Nitish on his own has always struggled in elections. He's got a limited caste base of the Kurmis. Lalu's had a 14% much larger Yadav base. Has Nitish Kumar needed Lalu in a sense even more than Lalu needs Nitish today?
Absolutely. He had no choice. This was a desperate move. Left to himself, if he had an option, he wouldn't have exercised this option of going with
So
Lalu.
it was a desperate move.
Absolutely. After the defeat in the Lok Sabha elections, there was no room left for him. Nitish may have the credibility, but Lalu, we may dislike him, still has the votes, and therefore he needed to tie up. He needed to bring the Congress into the fold. This is a
To
desperate
try and
gamble.
create some kind of an arithmetic sort of coalition against Narendra Modi. But Pawan Verma, is that a desperate move of a desperate man today? After that 2014 defeat where he fought on his own, won just 2 seats, were you left with no choice but to tie up with Lalu Prasad? Is that really a sign of the desperate times in which Nitish Kumar and maybe indeed all the anti-Modi allies in Bihar find themselves in today? The so-called Janata
Let me
Parivar.
answer this to you like this. It's very clear that when the opposition is divided, the BJP literally through the skin of its teeth wins. Even in the time of a wave for Mr. Narendra Modi in Bihar in the 2014 elections, with a completely divided opposition, with the most effective and extravagant campaign mounted against a 10-year UPA government, in a parliamentary election, the BJP won only 22 seats out of 40. With its allies, it won 31. With the lowest electoral base, 31% nationwide.
So
there is no doubt.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
There is no doubt that.
You seem to be then accepting my thesis that desperate times call for desperate measures. Therefore, you've abandoned your development model. You've abandoned your development model.
My argument remains incomplete if you interrupt me.
Okay, go ahead.
Because that is not what I was saying, but you're putting words in my mouth. You can't break an argument halfway.
Okay.
So the first point is that there has to be a greater index of opposition unity. And let me say this is not true only for the parties fighting the BJP. The BJP has more members in its alliance than the Gathbandhan, including the likes of people whom they have disliked forever. The point is that there is a coalition era to fight the politics in Bihar. Secondly, I want to take this question of caste head on. Your panelists, for whom I have great respect, and Dipankar keeps stressing upon the fact that there's some throwback to the past by talking about caste as against development. I'm sorry. The government of India releases socio-economic caste census, where development is directly related to who are the most deprived, and very often that correlates to what caste they belong. That's why the constitution had scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, because they were the most oppressed part of society. Even today, if you ask the question, who are the landless, who are the homeless, who have the lowest income,
Sir,
you will find that there is a direct correlation to a certain caste structure, and therefore development without social justice is precisely equivalent to the Gujarat model and the current kind of economics we've seen.
you know, my limited
And
point.
take Gujarat, and you ask me, are we talking about the Modi development or the Nitish development?
Yes.
You ask this question, Rajdeep.
Yes.
I say that if the battle is between Nitish Kumar and Mr. Narendra Modi as the face of the BJP, we will call into question his credentials on development. Now take the case of Gujarat, and I'll just quote three things to you. It was always a developed state.
Yes.
It had 10 years of Mr. Narendra Modi's rule. 1/3 of the people of Gujarat are still below the poverty line. 50% of the children up to the age of 5 are undernutrition or malnutrition. It has the highest incidence of labor unrest and many problems related to distribution of wealth and equity.
I want to
So
know.
there are issues about that.
Pawan Verma, there are issues, no doubt about the Modi.
That called into question.
Sir, no model is milk and honey. Much as Narendra Modi would like us to believe it, or Nitish Kumar would like us to believe it. I'm just trying to understand in the context of Bihar, where Bihar stands today, which is the model which people want to embrace is the question I want to raise. And that Dipankar is, and Surjit.
Development and social justice.
Is it as simple? Surjit, I'll get you in a moment. Let me get Dipankar and then get you in on this. What is this model that today the more backward states want to embrace? Because our survey is showing younger Biharis in particular are being more attracted to the Narendra Modi model.
Precisely, that's my point. I mean, if you think in terms of caste all the time, you will not catch this element. You know, it is true that the poorer castes are poorer in every way, literacy, etc., etc. But poorer castes don't always vote for the same party. Look at this. You have scheduled castes, high numbers in Bhabua, you have them in Gaya, you have them in Muzaffarpur, and the BJP won. In other places where scheduled castes are also high in number, you have the JDU winning.
So that's an interesting point you're making, that lower castes do not have fixed political identities.
Exactly.
They are looking at who at that moment seems to offer a more attractive option.
And it depends upon local configurations. You know, to believe that lower castes vote the same way would also imply that upper castes vote the same way, which is not true at all.
Just a minute. Yes.
Nitish's Mahadalit card, for example, was intended for straight targeted benefits for the extremely backward castes, and he was playing up the rivalries between the Paswans and the other extremely backward castes.
But today the BJP is trying to take over that same space.
So that
the BJP is trying to take the space that Nitish claimed. It's almost that the BJP is playing the politics that Nitish played 5 years ago.
And playing it better. So the question for Mr. Nitish Kumar really is that having played the development card, why is he not able to claim loyalty for the returns or rewards? There's something missing here in the politics that he's played.
I want to make two quick points.
Yes.
First, I think on your program you should be very, very proud and very, very happy. We've got a new definition of failure. According to Mr. Pawan Verma, you win 76% of the seats, and that's a massive failure. That is the percentage of seats that the NDA won in Bihar 2014.
Yes.
76%, and if I heard it right on your program, that's failure. Second, let's look at the Lalu versus Nitish debate as far as caste is concerned. I didn't interrupt you, sir. You can come in later.
Yes.
Okay. Now, according to your survey, the Yadavs, Lalu pulls in a lot more, if you will, of his caste. 62% of the Yadavs want to vote for JDU and 27% for the BJP. But as far as the Kudbis are concerned, it's 42 to 34. Nitish Kumar cannot even bring in his own caste, and certainly no comparison to Lalu, who's been disgraced, etc.
Would you, since you look at numbers, therefore would you say Nitish had no choice but to go with a Lalu?
I think, listen, we'll find out when the results are out on November the 5th.
Yes.
My feeling, as I've consistently said on your program, that those people, those politicians who are banking on caste in the India of 2013, 2014 and 2015 need to get their heads examined.
Are you saying we are entering a post-Mandal polity?
We
are entering
already entered it.
No,
I've
no,
got
no,
news
that-
for you.
because
we
from
already entered
from
it.
1990
Every piece of
to
data,
20
every piece of data that has come out of Indian elections over the last 5 years says the caste arithmetic does not work, the religion arithmetic does not work.
You see, in
yes.
1990s, for example, there were three
And may
major
I add-
elections.
May I add, Rajdeep,
One
in
moment, one
response?
moment.
One moment, Dipankar, and then I'll bring you in, Pawan. Let Dipankar.
You see, if you
yes.
look at election 1990s onwards, and I have looked at them very closely,
Yes.
you match them with caste figures and the caste census of 1931, for example, you will find no correlation at all. In fact, the funny thing is that Yadavs are not a predominant community anywhere, except for Madhepura, with about 23%.
But let's be
So if you're
clear,
going to
there
talk
was,
about-
there was a demolition of the upper caste hegemony between 1990 and 2010.
You just look at,
1990 and
you look at the
96.
figures. You look at the figure 1990 onwards.
Yes.
You will find that no party has had a clear sweep in any particular constituency over 3 elections.
No, no,
Okay, quick point, Manisha.
One
Yes.
quick
more
point
point,
is
one
that
more
there is
point.
a-
Dipankar, I'll
One
get
last
you-
point.
Yes.
Bhabua
Yes.
is a place where the BJP has won, and Bhabua has a very large number of scheduled castes.
Okay, there is a rotation which is taking place,
but
a
then you
churning,
can't say the
a
caste
churning which
matters.
is taking place. Quick last point, I have a 30 seconds.
Mr. Nitish Kumar's tragedy is that his Susashan was basically also wrenching out power from the control of the dominant Yadavas. So his Susashan model was one that put the cards strictly against the Yadavas. Now he is standing together. So the Koiri, Kurmi, Yadav animosities, how is he ever going to manage
So
that?
you're saying
I don't understand.
he's-
Caste matters, but how I don't know.
Okay, let me then take a break. Nalin Kohli is joining us of the BJP as we speak. Nalin, we'll come to you in a moment because when we return at the sharp at the top of the hour, we will bring the big numbers. If elections are held today, and remember, elections only begin on the 11th of October. This is the first of our pre-polls. We will track this election. Who is winning the elections if they are held today? Is it the Gadbandhan led by Nitish and Lalu, or a Maha Gadbandhan, or is it Narendra Modi's led NDA? Back in a moment with the big numbers on the battle for Bihar.